As we saw in Shanghai, I love getting to start the show with that phrase. Fighting is always easier from outside the cage. We've been trying to tell you that, which means it's time for Verbal Tap, the show that proves it. I am your host, Kevin. With me, of course, Raph Esparza. Raph, how are you doing this evening?
Better than Michael Bisping, or as I should say, instead of Shanghai, more like Shang goodbye.
Yeah, Shang left hook would have been helpful if they had put that on the boarding pass as he came in.
All right.
He could have potentially.
I want to address this, Kev.
Fun fight, though. I mean, you're fighting
Yeah.
Kelvin Gastelum. People have been already tearing into Bisping. I liked that he did it. I'm in. That's a fun fight.
Do you? Because people decided they were upset about this fight when they saw the outcome. Do you understand what that means? Do you understand why the people were upset?
I don't 1,000%. I guess because they were like, what? I guess I saw the Joe Rogan thing and was like, what was he thinking? Fighting this back and forth. Or were people just upset because it's Bisping?
So we put up a status update that's like, whoa, he's going to be fighting again. That's crazy that he's stepping up to actually compete. And we were taking it from the perspective of, did the commission clear him? Like, that GSP fight still took a lot out of him. Now, I understood he submitted, but it was still a pretty rough fight going in. So to come back 3 weeks later, there was very minimal amounts of articles that said Bisping should not fight.
No.
Our initial position was just like, I mean, I guess if they say he's okay, like, I don't know that I necessarily would, but I got to give him some warrior points for wanting to come back, right?
It's kind of how I felt. It's like, badass.
Okay. But like, hey, it's not my game, but good for you, dude. But the minute he got knocked out, things changed. Suddenly, everybody's a fucking doctor. Everybody's there like, I knew he shouldn't have been back in there. And it's like, where the fuck were you people? That's not the way it came out. Now, granted, Bisping is a shit talker of the nth degree. He has a whole podcast where he's basically trying to take Chael's shtick of being controversial, except he's at a much more amateur level of when he does it. So I don't feel bad when we put up the highlight of his match, a.k.a. the moment Kelvin Gastelum, which, by the way, Kelvin, not a real name. We really need to address this continuously on this show.
Really
Kevin
hurts.
is a real name. Kelvin is not. Kelvin is like a misprint
Kelvin
on a
is-
birth certificate.
Oh, this
But
is a fun new
here-
rant. I didn't realize you were so
Here's
upset about the name Kelvin.
I've said
No,
this at
I
least
agree.
one or two other times.
Not a
And I
name.
know that it has to be personal to you because it's almost your name. It's one letter
Kevin
off from
with
Kevin.
an L. It really does. Yeah, I'm not. As a member of the board of Kevin's currently, which comes as a shock to nobody, we don't accept it.
And I understand it's a unit of measurement of some sort, I think, from a science book from an education years ago that I forgot. Like, literally all the stuff I learned in grade school has been emptied into a recycle bin. Like, click, drag, recycle bin, gone. Somebody mentioned a solar system about a week and a half ago, and I was like, I'm sorry. Sounds great. Whoop, delete.
I definitely
All right.
remember talking about it. Yeah.
But here's why it's interesting, Kev, because I put up something and it harkened back to the last super great moment in Bisping knockout history, which was Dan Hendo Henderson knocking the shit out of Bisping with the H-bomb. And there were memes of him being put like America kicking England's ass, all this sort of shit. On this one, I merely just said USA, USA, USA. And we had one person who wrote CTE, CTE, CTE. In other words, concussions. So
Yeah.
suddenly now everybody wants to play this whole realm of, oh, it's a shame he shouldn't have fought. Why did nobody stop this, Kevin?
They shouldn't have. It's so good. What are you guys talking about? This is everything we loved about old school MMA, sort of injected into new school, and this is the downside. That's why it's a gamble. But I think the reaction is all just good that it's happening. It's like, oh, Michael Bisping had probably an amazing next night after party, because I'm guessing not that night. He's not allowed to go to sleep. But again, Shanghai treated him well, right? He went to the finest weird arcade-looking nightclub. Shanghai's got to be a good time for him.
I mean, I say this again. I love how everybody wants to armchair quarterback this one. I think it's silly that it happened to begin with, but again, we gave him some respect points.
You got a problem?
Honestly, I was more so. I think I was just initially shocked that he would be able to turn around, given the fight that he just had with George St. Pierre.
Yeah.
And I think the assumption was, oh, well, if you get choked out, you should be just fine. Well, maybe it's everything that happened before the chokeout. So when they cleared him to do it, I said, all right. Then you hear Joe Rogan and all these other people saying he didn't look okay. It's like, what did you expect? Like, this isn't a video game. You don't get a reset button. You don't get to respawn, and then it's a new Michael Bisping. If it did happen, that'd be amazing. Although I think USADA would be really on top of that.
If it was just Michael Bisping, though, that's the only one that has that power.
Hey, I just respawned.
I just killed him again. Killed him again.
I'm dead. Oh, I'm back up now.
Son of a bitch. This is the worst.
This is the worst video game. You would return that. It'd be like that and E.T. the Atari video game. So what I'm telling you guys is that's not even the most egregious thing that happened over the weekend, because we had a little time to watch that, and then we recovered from it because everybody forgot about it. But it was a great knockout, so credit to Kevin Gastelum. And yes, I said Kevin because that's a real name. Kelvin. Anyway, then what happened the next day, Kevin, that made us all, hallucinate, fever dream, put this all together where we think we imagined something that maybe shouldn't have happened.
So we have UFC over-under picks coming. We're going to talk to a fun friend that I hate when you bring on fighters. Doesn't matter. You're going to find out. And that's going to cross some other MMA realms. But first, before we get to any of that seriousness, we have to have a quick grappling moment. So hats off to Bisping. It's always tough to see somebody lose, but whatever. Metamoris happened. You did a live broadcast of your reactions, which is always a fun Q&A where you shame internet pirates, which is one of my favorite things that you do. I'm always in on it. I don't want you to change. And this particular production was by far the worst. I'm including the show Nawaza was in that was basically them like trying to go WWE online. I'm including that. This is pretty bad. He fights Gordon Ryan. You got to watch most of it, correct?
I watched as much as my phone let me watch. So here's the setup, and here's how it went.
Yeah.
Kevin and I are conflicted because when you bring up Metamoris, you think of all the shit that they've done. And then you see Hollick have an interview with the Jiu-Jitsu Times where he says, in my mind, I can beat Gordon Ryan if all things are correct. Like, what? Okay. So you're saying at your full capacity, you can do that, which sounds like you're not at full capacity when you say that. But then there was also a drop-in of saying how what fuels him to succeed are his haters. He can't believe the haters are out there, which I'm sure we're haters, so whatever. But then it's concluding with the fact that he's talking about Keenan and I think the Mendez brothers as Kobe and LeBron and makes some weird metaphors. Like, it's just one chunk that we put as a quotation on our page that is true Hollick at his best. So when you see stuff like that, I know it's supposed to entice you to order the pay-per-view, but it does the exact opposite to myself and Kevin, who we looked at each other and said, are we really doing this? Are we really going to order this? And I got to tell you, Kev, I feel proud to have ordered and paid my dues to help the Metamoris athletes. None of the money is probably not going to the athletes.
100% not. But we've got to talk about some things happening. Okay, so the first three fights are like a total of 14 minutes of fighting. We can't hear anybody at first. It did look like the commentators were in a bomb shelter. They did okay with what they had, I thought. Though they definitely referenced except ISIS as a joke. Like they were like, Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, except ISIS. And then followed up, Raph, with not to insult all of our Muslim friends. Like,
Nope.
What?
Nope. Wasn't an insult to our Muslim friends until then, guys.
Wasn't an insult to them. Just like you, white guy on the broadcast, wouldn't be insulted if somebody was like, except you, KKK. Hey,
Well,
didn't mean to insult all.
Can I give
all of our white male
an
listeners.
example of that real quick? Hey,
Sure.
Shout out to all the fat people who listen to our podcast. Right, Kev?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, here's what I'll say. That's Chris Howder.
Not to
and
insult, just
James Ulith.
like,
Two upstanding individuals. Commentary is hard. We know that. It's just, I will say at the very beginning, it did sound like there was a little bit of dead space. We couldn't hear them at the very beginning, so you knew things were amiss. I want to tell you my first interpretation when the broadcast turned on, because I'll give Metamoris this, and this I don't think has really ever happened in the past, Kev. It started on time.
Was impressive that they finally were able to shift it into gear. What a time to do it, too.
Because think about this. In the past,
would...
you mentioned how Metamoris loves the countdown clock. You're like, well, they still haven't lost that.
It's as though it genuinely were influenced by Independence Day early on in their lives. They were like, we got to have that clock scene where Goldblum's like, boom, whatever it is. We got to have a clock.
But see, you love that. There is nothing I love more than the countdown using the clock that then started another clock that says, we'll be right back. We're not ready to start. We reached 0 already, but we're starting a new clock. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Nothing better than that. All right, so they start on time. But to me, Kevin, the green mats, now that's a Gracie thing. That's part of the academy. I don't really want to get too much on that.
That honestly hadn't even occurred to me. I was just like...
But the green mats were very different to see on camera. And the fact that there were a bunch of lawn chairs that I think were stolen from a wedding somewhere surrounding. I couldn't tell if it was a wedding or a funeral. Like, I didn't know what I was watching. But the actual green mats that then had some surrounding like AstroTurf around it, it made it look like it was a golf course surrounding a tennis court.
They made some choices that I would not have made broadcast-wise. But that kind of all alludes back to this whole thing. Might as well have been produced in a garage, and it might have had more romance to it. Super cold in terms of everything. And then, and I apologize, there was no way to rewatch what was happening or know which fighter was which unless you were like matching it up with the card. And I was still at work, so I wasn't 100% focused. Each fight ended so quickly, and then that was it. We were just out because there was zero production to it. That it was hard to tell. But I know the first 3 fights were kind of fun in terms of they all ended in a pretty quick submission.
Which, by the way, Kev, shows you how far we had to go to get to Metamoris having submissions. Back in my day, you had to watch Metamoris, and you would stay there for 40 minutes at a time until Gary Tonin showed up. And then you'd get 1 submission, and that was it. Because we saved for that 1 submission.
I guess my highlight, if I have to choose one, so he starts fighting Gordon, whatever. So it's a great fight. It's just good. And
stuff. let's address this. This is at like the show started at 2:30. We're talking like 2:55. They're doing the promotional package to stretch.
Yeah. To really try and get some semblance of it. The best part was, bar none, the Gordon knee of payment, as we would refer to it. And yes, I was posted as like the main tweeter, the main person using Twitter and the hashtag. Because if you posted in the thing, it just went up like a billboard. So I even quoted you. It's like, knee of payment, Ravis Barzov at Verbal Typecast. Just like, a little free promo. Why not? Just throw it in there. And it was basically playing the entire time Gordon's just putting a knee on his face, which was really fun to watch. I just want to really articulate how good that was. That was the highlight. Said he would submit him between 10 and 18, reveals afterwards as Hollick is like, and we're going to talk about the ending with Hollick's speech, which was so fucking sad to me. It was so sad. The guy is not Gordon's level. It's laughable that Gordon took the fight, but Gordon was like, I'm going to submit him in 10 to 18. Took an additional bet that said he would do it in 10 to 12, submits him at 10 and a half with the triangle choke that he could have done at any moment.
What I like to remind people is when they were asking me what did it look like, I said, have you ever done drilling against a dummy? like one of those grappling dummies where you do all the transitions and you think to yourself, that will never happen in real life. Well, it did. And it happened with an actual black belt who was the grappling dummy for all intents and purposes. I want to say this. Hollick is a black belt, and that should not be taken away from him. So, like, he's a bad businessman, but he's a black belt, so we can give that to him. But Gordon could have ended that at any time. So, yes, we all knew that there was going to be a kill shot moment from Gordon. Here's what's weird to me. The false humility that Gordon exuded after beating him. And when I say false humility, Gordon gets up because it's Metamoris time, so everybody has to give a speech.
What is that? What's great? Why do they do that?
I don't know, dude. It's kind of like the Oscars, where everybody just gets really compelled to say.
You're going to give a speech.
I thought the ref was going to give a speech at one point. I think that's Dean, who was the ref. Anyway. And I want to point out, I think Dean's like a purple belt who was reffing that match. And I think they didn't even care because they're just like, well, I mean, like, what are you going to do, dude? We can't afford anybody else. Chris is on the microphone for some strange reason. So we're good. And by the way, if you see on video, I'm sure you've seen there's the Instagram clip of it that's already gone out. Dean, I think one point does like a spin to the camera and just points. So kudos to him. All right, let's talk about this whole Hollick thing.
Sure.
Here's where it's confusing to me. Because I look at something like this, Kev, and I think, okay, yeah, Gordon's being a little on the false humility side. Because Gordon gets up and in his speech, he says something akin to this. You know, I really want to thank Hollick for taking the match. Because they gave a lot of people the opportunity to give a match against me. They went to like 12 different like black belts and nobody wanted the match. But Hollick, he came in and he took the match. So hats off to Hollick. No, none of us really want to see this match. The only thing is there's the idea that this business owner is taking matters into his own hands, which has a cool narrative sound, except for the fact that Gordon was toying people at ADCC. That's a high caliber tournament. I'm nervous Gordon could still toy with people at EBI coming up this week. And that's an absolute category, and which he's already won. So now we're at this place, Kev, where you think, damn, dude, this is a tough gig, dude. This could be insane to see live. So why did we do it? Well, in theory, we're supporting the athletes. So, Kev, let's do some math. You know it's my favorite thing to do on the show, right?
You do enjoy math. You've enjoyed it this whole time. And they, well, go for it. Give the audience what you're about to hunt out, which is the logistics of how many people were there and prices. This is you on mute talking about it, or are you... it's always
no, this is... Yeah, I took a second to collect my thoughts.
Gathering your numbers research.
I had to get out my Glenn Beck chalkboard real quick, everybody.
I just didn't want to step on any of the amazement. Which
I appreciate it. So here's what I can tell you guys. For whatever reason, you know, the client that we all use to watch a show, if you did watch this show and you weren't trying to illegally pirate it, it's through Kling. And so, Kev, when you saw it, did you ever see a number at any time?
No.
Okay. I am fairly certain I saw a number because it makes you watch it through Facebook, essentially. So it asks you what viewing client you want to watch it through. So there's a couple of social media. You can watch it through your email, you can watch it through Twitter, or you can watch it through Facebook. Now, at one point on there, much like on Facebook Live, when it has a little red spot that says how many people are watching your broadcast live, I saw it read 450 people. Now, that's not to say that only 450 people watched it. That just means at that particular time, which was the main event, 450 people tuned in. Okay? Now, before I go any further on this, I want to let you know these numbers are probably wildly inaccurate, but at least they give us an idea of where we're starting, which is an important part. So let's just do some math. Let's say it was only 450 people. Okay? 450 people. Kevin, how much did you pay for that bullshit?
$20.
$20. Do you know what that comes out to?
450 times 20?
Yep.
Go fuck yourself. I was educated in Kansas. Is that the right answer?
$9,000. No,
Okay.
not quite. Although I would love to see you pay a house payment with that sort of attitude, Kevin.
I'll just send that in. That would feel good.
Go fuck yourself. I'm
So
from
would being
Kansas.
homeless, right?
So about $9,000. Now, to give you guys some better inclusion as to how that can differ from perspective to perspective, earlier today, the MMA Hour had 350 people tune in. And at one point of the MMA Hour, and it could reach as many as 10,000 people. It had a count on there. So while I saw the watching at that second count, I don't have the overall number. But let's say those 450 people watching at $20 a pop gives us at least a base of 9,000. Okay, that's a great place to start. Good for you. Low cost, because clearly they only had, 2-3 cameras, one of which was, I guess they took back one terrible camera trick from Polaris, which was the camera up in the sky, which looked like the dumbest camera pinpoint there was. But I don't know that they had a lot of places to shoot because they wanted to put in all those chairs. Kev, when I saw you, how many tickets had they sold when we were in Denver? And that was 10 days out?
It was not long. It was the week before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Last
so
week.
they basically 10 days out, let's say 8, 9, 10 days out. They had only sold about 43 tickets. That came out to about $3,500 that we talked about last week. But magically, as we got closer to the fight, and this is important to note, when they lost their co-main event between Travis Dewaza and Glover, which, by the way, Jeff Glover didn't really give an actual explanation. He just was like, "Hey guys, I'm not retired, but I'm not in this. So, jiu-jitsu baby," and left. Which left Travis Dewaza without a match, which then you would think they would have gotten him somebody, but instead they just canceled him on the card. So
that always feels good.
That's got to be amazing, right? So they only had 4 matches, 3 of which go super armbar, and I think they were all AOJ guys, and they all were done in 15 minutes, as Kevin mentioned. But as you notice, Kev, maybe, and I'm just putting a theory out there, maybe they couldn't pay for Glover, and they cancel the match. I don't know that. It's a question I have. If at that time all they had were sales. So one thing we do know for sure is after the match, Gordon got on his Instagram and said that Hollick paid him every cent he was promised.
Ooh.
So the question now is, Kevin, with that 3,500, and I jelly bean the amount of people in that room, would you like to know how many people were in the jelly bean jar?
How many? I am curious.
80.
What? Excuse me?
And that includes competitors. So they may have said on the website that they only had 20 tickets left by Thursday, even though they got rid of a co-main event, lost another competitor, but somehow sold more tickets and were almost at capacity except for 20 tickets. And I thought to myself, were they giving away tickets? So let's say I'm wrong. It could entirely be possible. Let's say they sold 100 tickets, Kev.
I'd say.
Okay, let's say they sold 100 tickets. And I'm completely wrong, and I didn't know. Maybe that gets them a $10,000 gate. So hopefully, if they do the Ariel Hawani Facebook Live that had 350 people watching at one point, that came out to 10,000 people. Maybe if they had 450 people tuning in at one point, maybe that could result in a higher multiple. So let's hope that they get closer to maybe 5,000 people watching. And if that's the case, maybe they raised I got to do some math here, Kev. What is 5,000 people?
This is kind of
times
insane to me.
20, Kev.
5,000 people times 20. This one I can easily do. 100,000.
All right. So maybe, guys, let's hope that maybe, just maybe, they did bigger business than we're allotting for. I guess what I'm saying is, given the amount of people, and I saw one person say that Hollick still owes their friend $10,000.
Damn.
That $100,000 probably goes real quick. That promotional material didn't make itself. Gordon didn't make himself. I bet they probably offered to pay for travel as well. Did they pay for, Gary or Danaher to come out? They definitely were not paying the athletes, to my knowledge, but that might be something worth noting. So I hope they made some money, Kev.
A lot of question marks still left, I guess.
Yes.
You might say. A lot of questions. Not
So
as
anyway,
many answers as you'd want in this type of situation.
But let's talk about the repercussions, though, Kev. You brought up some stuff, and I want to address this because we did a whole live podcast, and there were so many people who wanted to know the result. They knew the result was going to happen, but they kind of wanted to know the how and when. So thanks to you guys, we had 2,400 degenerates watch my stream in the hopes that I would turn the camera around and AJ Agazarm it. But what is the repercussion of this? Like, what is the implication of going to a lower grade? Has Metamoris lost the prestige?
Definitely. We're talking. I was actually. I think this was maybe as bad as it gets. So we'll see if Hollick's got something innovative, but he didn't this time. Doesn't look good. This might be the swan song, a choke out from Gordon Ryan, because it wasn't even as fun as you kind of want it to be, because we saw this before.
It's hard to say because one of the things it had going for it was that it always looked pristine. Like it always, even when you didn't like it, it still felt like a show, a spectacle, a production. This felt, like a funeral. And
yes,
I don't feel like we've seen the end of it.
This felt sadder. That's what it felt. And it was just such a non-event. Come on.
Yeah.
He has no business.
So I guess the takeaways from us on this one is, guys, I really want to see these athletes get paid. I am sincerely worried this doesn't pay all their debts, and we have another telethon to raise money for this telethon. So
more in if it's just a telethon. I want to be super clear.
But let's say all of us is wrong. Let's say I was giving them the benefit of the doubt, and they didn't come anywhere close to that 100,000. Because one of the things that Hollick said was that AJ streamed that video from the last feed to 100,000 people, and just 10% of that feed would have paid for the Metamoris athletes, which tells me a couple things. One, really? That's the numbers? Two,
doesn't sound right.
Wait, that doesn't sound like my checkbook and your checkbook look the same here, Hollick, because if one person on Facebook, and they're legitimately telling the truth, and again, it's Facebook, anybody could say what they want there, but if one person really is owed $10,000, then I don't think just 10% of that AJ stream that hurt you was going to pay for everything. Plus, that assumes everybody would pay, because some people watched a feed like ours to get out of having to pay anything, which that does exist. But to those of you who did tune in, thank you very much. We had a great time with you guys.
Amen. It was pretty fun.
Yep.
Over under?
Yeah, let's go do that.
Hey, it's the holidays. It's time to go get an upgrade on the underwear you're training in. Let's be specific. North-South Jiu-Jitsu underwear. I have been using it just to run in the cold. Super helpful. It does stay in grip, Raph. I got to tell you, I feel like I'm going to grapple. I have the hips situation and the butt where it's really difficult for me to keep everything tucked in butt-wise. Super. This takes away all that. All of that. North-South Jiu-Jitsu underwear. Get it for the holidays. This is a simple but thoughtful gift. The best types of gift. Dare I say, Raph.
I feel like some people were willing to give it a chance until you started talking about your regions.
Sure. So Don't do that. Don't even focus on it. Go to northsouthjujitsu.com. Check it out.
And I want to tell you guys this. If you want to get one of our t-shirts for our Verbal Tap listeners, and only you guys, because we love you guys more than anybody else, I want to make sure you guys know, if you want to get the discount of $5 off, you need to use the following code. Which code, Kevin?
You need to use Turtle. Just enter in Turtle, Turtle. don't start singing TURTLE power. It'll drive everyone in the
Nope,
house crazy. Do it privately later. TURTLE, turtle. It's a position in jiu-jitsu that some of us used recently.
In other areas of power. So do that. You guys can buy t-shirts or patches at verbaltapcast.com.
verbaltapcast.com.
UFC pay-per-view, which means, Kevin.
Yeah, it means UFC pay-per-view. We have some sort of competition.
Mm-hmm.
Fever pitching me out, but over-under?
Yes, it's our recurring segment. It's
We
been
didn't
going
change
on
the
for
name
years.
to Top Bottom. I thought we...
No.
I'll check the notes.
We didn't want to give the easy jokes to have people say you're a power bottom or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly for this reason. Ladies and gentlemen, whenever we do these things, they're fun when we bring on writers or other jiu-jitsu fighters. But Kevin, what if I were to tell you for today's very special installment of Over Under Kevin, UFC 218, I were to bring on a fighter? Kevin, how would you feel about that again?
I fucking hate it when you do that. That's how I feel about it.
Why do you hate it? Is it that they're more intense? Is it that they have more knowledge than you?
You just got to be careful not to cross a line when you could inevitably roll with an MMA fighter. Every jiu-jitsu person knows this. They're mean. They use their elbows differently, and that's where slapping came from. They started it. We just evolved.
Well, from the sound of it, it sounds like the fighter that we have on the line right now is already causing destruction to the point where there are sirens in the background. So you know that's an ominous side for you, Kevin. But let's greet our MMA fighter and jiu-jitsu black belt, Kev, in one, Noah Tillis. Noah, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Very good. Thank you very much for telling us that you're doing okay, especially amidst all the sirens. Are you in danger right now, sir?
No, I'm not. I took care of some stuff, but I'm not in any danger.
You took care of some stuff is the shadiest way anybody's ever come onto this show.
That, like,
at least
John
in the
Wick.
past year.
Whatever. That's how it needs to be.
So here's what we need to tell the people, Kevin. Our good friend Noah Tillis, he's going to be appearing on what? I believe it's Bellator 192 at the Forum. Is that correct, Noah?
Yep, Bellator 192.
Okay, cool. Tell us how that all came together, because some of you may be familiar with Noah as a jiu-jitsu badass. You see him on plenty of cards. He was at Ultimate Mat Warriors. He was somebody who competed at the Newaza Challenge, which I commentated years ago.
And is now cheating on us.
Yeah, you were talking about my hair the whole time.
Well, let's be real. You're the one that needed to fix your hair.
Great.
You had swooping hair in your face consistently. And this is what I loved about that tournament. Everybody had bangs that just kept getting in their face, that they just kept, like, shampoo commercialing, getting out of their face, where they'd shake their head back. And I was like, I have to make fun of these people.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was good. Yeah, so the card's going to be Bellator 192. It's going to be Douglas Lima and Rory McDonald. It's going to be a good card. From what I'm told, the fights are matching up pretty well right now. I'm getting some insight about who all is going to be on the card. And just even as a fan, it looks pretty good. So I'm excited to fight early, get it done, and then kind of just take a seat and watch the fights. It came about just local matchmaking. I've been a little bit more active. I'm 4-2 as a pro. With the MMA, I am focused more on my jiu-jitsu for the last 6 years. I opened up my gym 6 years ago, so I took a little hiatus from MMA. But now that the gym's a little bit more established, I have a lot more color on the mat. I'm able to get a little bit more training for myself in. You know, I've been fighting. I had 2 fights last year, winning both of those in under a minute. So, got in contact with Bellator. We figured that out. And now I'm on the card, going to fight a very tough Jalin Turner. So I'm excited for that.
You and Jalin Turner. Interesting. It was Jalin also the person who had that barn burner of a fight with one Rich Leroy?
Yes, that's him. That was a great fight.
Oh my God! All right. Well, you know that you're in for a great fight, folks. That one of the best live fights I've ever seen. Obviously, those two guys are awesome. Let's talk about this, Noah, because a lot of people may not be super familiar with you who maybe listen to our show because they're cultured. But let's give people an introduction to you. What should people know about you in case they don't know anything about you? Like, what's something about you or your jiu-jitsu or your history as an MMA fighter that people should know from the get-go?
That's a tough one. Well, I think my style of jiu-jitsu is, I'm not gonna say I'm not going to, but I don't win a lot of IBJJF stuff by advantages. I usually am either gonna win by submission or I'm gonna die in a, blazing fire going for it. That's just my style. My style of jiu-jitsu has always been based for MMA, so that's what I was always been doing. I don't fight for advantages or I'm not killer on like holding lapels for 10 minutes, So yeah. My style of jiu-jitsu has always been geared for MMA, and there's some great jiu-jitsu fighters that doesn't transfer over well. I'm a pressure fighter. I'll put pressure, keeping limited space, ground and pound. I have good wall work off the wrestling and stuff. I wrestled almost just as long as I've done jiu-jitsu. So I think that's the difference is my jiu-jitsu is geared towards MMA. That's a big thing. I fought in the first pancration that was ever in California that it just started. I was 12 years old. They had that event down in San Diego.
I was joking about the slap jitsu.
Yeah,
but
let's
you did it like a decade ago? What?
No, it wasn't pancrase. It was pancration. So it was a little different. Pancrase was the open hand slash. Pancration was it was MMA from the neck down. So it was like when you're a kid, it was kind of cool. You get your body shot, take the guy down, knee him in the ribs, punch him in the body, and then set up submissions. And so it was MMA just with no face shots. So it was good for us as kids. And,
I want
to kids. Well, this is not boding well for your over under bullshit, Raph. I'm terrified of this individual. You fought him before?
No. I'm wearing a tie-dye shirt right now, man. I'm not a fighter.
Yeah, he's also got glasses that are super deceptive.
Oh, fucking course he does. Okay.
Carry on. He's got what he's referred to at times as his Chicken Little glasses from old school times. Yeah. But no, Noah's definitely a beast. Here's what you should know about Noah. I have seen him teach seminars. I have seen him teach classes. And it's not a joke when he mentions the kind of pressure he really does instruct well with. He has a number of wrestlers who gravitate toward him just because his style seems to fit a very good, make you feel uncomfortable for the most amount of time. I think that's the best way I can describe what he does best. And
pressure burst pipes.
And let me bring this up. If you guys haven't seen, I think my buddies Mike Frosto and Octavio Villanueva both got Tillis's armbar, which was one of the most beautiful flying armbars I got to see this year. Like right before ADCC, it just looked like the spirit of Davi Ramos manifested in Noah, where it was just like, oh, I'm going to jump and I'm going to get this. And I've got this flying armbar.
Just to me, I feel like when I watch someone accomplish a flying armbar, like it's that scene from Space Jam where Michael Jordan stretched in the air. Cause it's just like, I don't have that ability. I'm not dunking the fucking basketball. I'm also not flying.
Yeah, it was a weird one. It wasn't like we weren't standing. He sat to his butt, and yeah, I did. It's funny that you bring up Davi Ramos. I was asked to do a break. Yeah, I was asked to do a breakdown of his armbar he did, the exact same armbar. I did a breakdown for MMA Latest. So they came and videotaped the breakdown I did for that armbar. So I've drilled the thing many times. And I mean, it's nothing ridiculous. If you go to the head, they're gonna push you away. And when they push you away, they're disconnecting their elbows from their knees. And you know where an armbar should be. So you just kind of gravitate yourself, blocking the chest and stepping over the head. So it just worked out good. I reached for his head to see where he was going to post, and right when I saw his elbows come up, it was armbar.
No, I get you, black belt. That's totally super easy for all of the rest of us to do. Okay.
Yeah.
I just like the idea. It's just like, what? You can't? It's that moment in jiu-jitsu where everybody does a cartwheel, and you're like, Raph, you don't cartwheel? And I'm like, nah, bro, I didn't even cartwheel as a fucking child.
Ref, this is where we also need to make that warning to our less limber practitioners. Do not just think your knees will find the elbow. You need to focus and drill it with a professional. That's the end of the warning.
Yep.
Yeah, you do have to drill it.
Now, granted, okay, so that's the thing that people should know about you. One thing that I do want to ask, because we always ask this, how did you, because you said you were wrestling, did you go from wrestling to jiu-jitsu, or did you go from wrestling straight into MMA?
No, so I started karate when I was 4, and I loved the Power Rangers, and I would watch the old UFCs with my grandpa, and when I was about 4 or 5 years old, right before I turned 5, I went to the park across the street from my house. My neighbor buddy was doing karate, and I was being a whiny little bitch, and I was like, I want to do karate too, and ended up going over there and doing karate, and it wasn't, it was cool, but like I've always been really aggressive, so there was really they would always get in trouble because I would be, sparring a little too hard. So, they recommended a different class on Saturdays, and that one was really cool. The guy, he would let us spar hard, and by this time I'm about 7 years old, and he started showing a little bit of jiu-jitsu. He was like a 3-stripe white belt or something. He didn't know very much at all, but he would show like a key lock and mount and side control after the karate class on Saturday, and I loved that so much more. I was like, man, this is so neat, and I would try the key lock all the time. And so I asked my dad, and so I was 7, I was 8, so this is 20 years ago. I'm 27 now, so I would ask my dad, hey, you want to do jiu-jitsu? And he's looking in the phone book. He's not looking on his iPhone. He's looking in the phone book, and we found Rodrigo Medeiros, which is my coach, still my coach. Rodrigo Medeiros was in La Habra, so it was only about 5 miles from us. And I went there. I was about 8 when I started with him, and that's when I started jiu-jitsu. And then when I started wrestling, I was about 11. And the only reason why I started wrestling was for jiu-jitsu. So, I'd show up. One of my teammates at jiu-jitsu was going to wrestling tournaments. They were wrestling at a club. And they're like, yeah, you should come to these tournaments. They're only $10 or $5 or $10, the wrestling tournaments. But they're every Sunday. And so I'd go, and I didn't know anything about wrestling, but I'd go and do takedowns. I'd get beat up, and I just knew like a shitty double leg that you learn from jiu-jitsu, that this Brazilian's not a wrestler at all. And then I found a club, and I started wrestling a lot more. But I wrestled just to help my jiu-jitsu. Same now. I'll go to the college and wrestle just to help my jiu-jitsu run and stuff. So it's always kind of formatted. I don't consider myself a fighter or a cage fighter. I believe in jiu-jitsu, so it all stems for that.
Okay. Kev, here's something that's interesting about his story that I know that maybe you don't yet, which is Tillis runs tournaments out here in SoCal, the SoCal Jiu-Jitsu Championships. And one of the cool things about that is he keeps the price super low. So when you talk about $10 to $15 for wrestling tournaments,
oh damn!
No, but that's $10 to $15 for wrestling tournaments. The price that I see you usually start is almost like $40-$50, which is a steal.
Yeah, $40.
Yeah, which is a steal for most tournaments that involve any form of jiu-jitsu.
Big time.
Dude, IBJJF literally charges you $40 just to look both ways when you cross the street to go to an IBJJF tournament.
Application
$40
fee.
and only one match.
Especially unless your gi's not up to spec, then you will be pointed it at the fucking door.
Well, don't worry. Tillis definitely directs people to merchandisers that's like, oh, you can't compete in that rash guard. You got to go get a special Noah Tillis rash guard.
Yeah.
Let me point this out, though, because I said one nice thing. So now I have to say one real thing, Kev. At the last tournament, I went over and I saw Noah, and I went to give him some pointers. Because, as you hear him on the radio right now, not super charismatic, right, Kev?
Oh, not at all. Doesn't have that brush of ease.
Nah. So I walked over to give him a few pointers, and I was like, hey, Noah, here's the best advice I could give you for being on the microphone. Don't fuck up. So Noah gets on this microphone. And what did you say, Noah? What did you say about me in front of all these people?
I told everybody that we have, world famous Rappa Sparza here, and I think we should always give them a round of applause. There's no disrespect. I just thought we should all appreciate greatness when it's around us.
Absolutely. So
I'm supposed to compete against him. He sounds amazing.
You will be in just a second, but here's why it's so funny. So it's supposed to be kind of an expert level of trolling, But what ends up happening is people legitimately start clapping for me. And I just look over at Tillis and I was like, ha, I feel loved. Thanks.
They love you, dude.
Of course.
They thought you were somebody for a second.
Well, hey, listen, dude. I'm not the idiot that told people to clap for me. But damn if I was surprised if they did. So when I looked around, I was like, oh, shit, I got a good ovation. That was actually pretty good. Thanks, Tillis. Boom.
Nice.
You're roasted. Tillis, I have to ask this. This is so important to me because, you know, we're good pals, but I don't know what this answer is. And we ask you about your beginnings. We ask you something that people should know about you. When's the moment you knew that you were hooked to jiu-jitsu, sir?
Oh, that's one I haven't heard before, actually. That's hard to say. Probably hooked was when I was, maybe 12, 13, when I was really diving in. Actually, I can answer that. When I was about 13, I started I was an orange belt, and I started competing in the adults division, the adults blue belt division. For the, like I said, when I was 13, that was 14 years ago, jiu-jitsu was still very, very new. So there wasn't any orange belts around, and, they were mix and match and get me matches. And I was sponsored by Show Your Roll at the time. They were just coming out with patches and shirts. I've been with Show Your Roll since I was 13. So Bear's coach at the time, Taquino, did a tournament, and he tells me, Bear's like, yeah, okay, let's move around. Let's get you some more matches, And I was like, fuck it. Let's just do I didn't say fuck it because I was 13. But I said like...
you 100% said fuck it at 13.
He definitely said
do not allow him to rewrite this story, people.
Yeah. But I said, let's just do the men's blue belt division. So I did the male, the rooster weight division. And I kind of, I was only 116 pounds at the time. I ended up going 1-1. I won one match by armbar and I lost one. But I just realized, I was like, man, this is what I've always done. My technique is better than these guys. And from then on, I was always doing the adults divisions, So I'd do the kids as well, or the teens if they were there, if it was a big tournament. But that's kind of where it was a big thing for me, because before I would just show up, I'd maybe win or lose or whatever it was, but I do the kids divisions. But those challenges are what I always like, So going with the adults was always something really neat. And then, not long after that, when I was a teenager, 16, I think 15. Yeah, I was at 16. I started doing the expert and adult divisions when I was about 15, 16. So those were always fun. I was going against the best black belts in the world at that time, and I was a blue belt. So that's the stuff that I really liked. So I was hooked. There was no, there was a time when I was 14 that I thought I was going to quit jiu-jitsu. I had this crazy dude put me in a triangle at open mat, and he didn't want to let go. And, he thought I was being rude or disrespectful or something. The guy was just a fucking idiot. And, took like 3 guys to pry his legs open and stuff. And that I just said, I told my coach drove me home. My dad was at work. And I was like, I'm not coming back. Like, I'm done. And I really thought I was going to quit jiu-jitsu at the time. But a couple days later, I realized the guy was just a piece of shit. And that's not something that really happens. So that was cool. But yeah, probably when I started doing the adults divisions, not even doing them and being successful, just doing them is when I really realized that this was a part of my life.
Okay. There's a lot to disseminate through all of that.
Attempted
the first
murder
of which,
at one point.
Yeah, no, the attempted murder is definitely one that he sweeps underneath the rug, where it's like, hey, Noah, tell us what kept you in jiu-jitsu. Well, I mean, I started entering adult divisions, then some dude tried to kill me when I was fucking 14, but that's when I knew I was hooked. Oh, wait, something to that degree. The second part of that story that I think we need to discuss, Noah, is how many child labor laws were you fucking up throughout your time? Because it started with you saying like, oh, I was doing pancration, which, by the way, pancration sounds like a form of pullout. But you were doing that at 12 years old. You were fighting already at 12 with body strikes, at least.
Yeah, they had
right?
the first one. Yeah.
And then you started doing MMA at how old?
Well, I mean, I did that until when I did MMA, it was just pancration. Then I did some smokers. That's when smokers were still a thing.
Right.
Before Camo was involved. And I turned pro in 2008 when I was 18. So I was doing mostly pancration, did some smokers, and then got my pro license when I was 18.
Jesus. All right, Kev. Well, you have to go up against this. Do you have questions for him?
Yes. So let's just take a trip back. You remember fighting February 06 against Nick Willert in All-Star Boxing, Caged in the Cannon?
Absolutely. I remember that.
It was.
Wasn't 2006, though.
2009. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just making sure Dog's got your record correct here. Because
Sure Dog does it.
Well, then the next fight, Raf, Dr. Stoppage on a TKO. What did you do to Eric Brown?
Eric Brown's he was a great dude, a tough opponent. But that one was started up right hand, body lock, took his back, and then finished him with strikes from the back.
Doesn't sound like a jiu-jitsu fighter to me, Raf. I think I'm ready.
I know.
That's all I needed. All right.
Well, listen, this is the best part of the show because we get to know a little bit about the people before we transition into a game. So is there anything else you want to say that's kind of nice to him before you have to start talking shit to him, Kevin?
Oh, yeah. You're a blast to watch fight. You're always fun in terms of MMA-wise. It's been a while. I caught a YouTube video before this. It was a little terrifying. So it'll be fun to see you in Bellator, but what's your thought process? You pulled out of a fight to win, or you pancreationed out of a fight to win. Are you planning a next jiu-jitsu fight after Bellator, or how does that work for you in terms of what you plan?
Yeah, I was talking to a few different promoters to see when I'm going to compete again, but I don't want to really take much time off. But as far as anything planned, no, but I'm going to try to get a super fight or something as soon as I can. You know, maybe try to get a super fight on maybe one of Boogie's Ultimate Warrior card. I really like that card, or this guy Cat Clark over in Nova Scotia. That'd be kind of cool. He's always looking for stuff. But I'd like to stay active right after the Bellator, but I don't have anything planned.
Yeah, it sucks. I got to tell you, you're putting me in a quandary because Boogie's next tournament for Ultimate Mat Warriors is the same day as that Bellator up here.
Yeah.
And normally I try to double dip if I can, but I haven't quite yet made my Sophie's choice here, so I may see you. I don't know. We'll see. Bellator would also have to credential me, which means they'd have to consider us a legitimate news source, so that's a whole different beast into itself.
And us, them. It's
Yeah.
mutual on that. Everyone has to be professional.
Absolutely. Let's do this, Kev. Let's go ahead and transition to the game. Over, under, Kevin.
And now it's time for the thrilling installment of Over Under Kevin.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode. We hope you were excited to listen to Noah Tillis take on my co-host, Kevin Phillips, in a thrilling game of Over Under Kevin. The way this game works, very simple. We go through the entire UFC 218 pay-per-view card. We go out of order. We give each participant 15 seconds to say who they think is going to win. If I so deem it, they will get 15 seconds of rebuttal time. And at the end, whoever gets the most picks correct wins. It's that simple. For tiebreakers, we go to performances of the night and fight of the night. Gentlemen, do you both understand the rules? Kevin, do you understand the rules?
I don't agree with them. I find them to be like 27 Democracy, missing some tact.
That's fine, not relevant, stricken from the record. Tillis, do you understand the rules, sir?
I wasn't paying attention at all the whole time you were talking, but it seems simple enough. Let's do it.
It's all right. I figured we were going to do a concussion test right in the middle of there, and you passed with flying colors, sir. Before we start, do you have anything that you would like to say to each other? Keep in mind, the trash talking begins now. Tillis, I'll let you have opening statement to Kevin.
He just seems like such a swell dude. I hope he really thinks out his answers, puts forth, weighs out pros and cons, and does his best.
Kevin, do you have a response to that?
Yeah, look, you're not fighting Jeff Carson at the Gladiator Challenge here at American Pride, which sounds like it was held in a gay bar. I'm just going to say it in the Midwest. This is not a guillotine choke situation. This is going to take the full 3 to 7 rounds. I don't know how many they're fighting in Bellator these days. But I just want to thank you for coming on to my medium as opposed to making me go to yours.
Oh, yeah. That works out well.
Yo, hold up,
No
though. I
worries.
really want to make sure people know. More gay pride parades should have an MMA match at the
Couldn't
end.
agree more.
Wow. Genius stumbling block at the end of that one, guys. All right, let's go to our first match. Kev, you're going to lead us off. I've got 15 seconds on the clock for telling us who will win in this heavyweight bout between Justin, what you talk about, Willis versus Alan Crowder. Go.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of have to take Justin. It's Big Pretty is his nickname. He's 5-1, but his opponent is Pretty Boy. And I like Big Pretty over Pretty Boy because Pretty Boy takes me Kansas flashback Justin Willis.
All right. There we go on that one. All right, Tillis, you got this one, and 15 on the clock for you, sir. Go.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go with Crowder as well. I don't know much about these guys, but I really want some clam chowder, and I just kind of feel like his name makes me really hungry. So I'm going to go with Crowder. He's going to pull it out. Have some clam chowder. It's going to be a good day.
Okay, Kev, do you think his
Objection.
decision to want... go ahead, sir. I'll allow 15 seconds on the clock for you.
He obviously has pegged me as a fat kid and is using food metaphors to distract me from focusing that he's doing Machiavellian-like things. Okay, I see what I'm up against. And I definitely am not craving clam chowder, Raph.
Tillis, is that part of the plan? Why don't you go and respond, sir?
Oh, he sounds like a fat bitch. He sounds like he fucking breathes oatmeal after running half a mile. But he's probably a good dude, you know?
Okay. Is that a thing to have oatmeal after a run?
Present mood is fat bitch, by the way.
No,
That's how I feel.
it's more to play on his cardio. His cardio is probably garbage. Sounds like, but
This guy gets me. Raph, we got to go to the next fight. I'm getting killed here on the ropes.
Listen, this is too much. We've already started off fantastic. Tillis, you're going to lead us off on this next one. It's a light heavyweight fight between Jeremy Kimball and Dominic Reyes. Go.
I'm going to go with Jeremy Kimball. Again, I don't know anything about these two fighters, but I know a guy with the last name Kimball, so they're probably related somehow, and that guy seems pretty tough. So I'm going to go with Kimball.
Sound logic. Kevin, what do you got for us?
First, no way he has a friend because Kimball's made up. So I'm just going to call it out. Second, I got to go with Dominic Reyes because I'm not sure Jeremy Kimball has been around people in a long time, and I'm nervous. Big beard.
Okay.
Ref. Nickname Grizzly.
Big beard grizzly.
Hibernation season with a nickname like I'm just throwing out facts.
Kevin, if you're bringing up hibernation, do you feel that Noah's a little bit asleep right now? Does he need to be jilted back up? Like, where do you feel his energy level is right now?
Classic case of a hard worker, Raph. They're always tired by this time. Not us. I'm
You know
on
what?
uppers.
You can't just talk shit and then come back with the compliments, because now I feel bad.
Well, let's the Machiavellian checkmate, Raph.
Tillis, are you getting a little thrown off here because Kevin's intermixing both his shit talking and compliments?
Yeah, like I'm getting like a quarter chub, like getting excited to get in some fucking verbal battles, and then he's telling me I'm a hard worker. Like, which one is it? Yeah, am I a piece of shit, or let's stick to one.
I would like to point out to the audience listening how easily Noah gets a chub. Just from the sound of it, for him saying, like, somebody gave me a half compliment. Ooh, yeah, I'm pancreation right now.
Not just anyone, Raph. People
No.
with verbal tap.
That's true. Fair enough. Kevin, you're going to lead us off on this next bout. It is a welterweight match between Alex Olive Garden and Yancy Medeiros. Go.
Two people that have both hurt me in the past. This one is tough. I guess I'm going to go, you know what? I'm taking a United States over Brazil stance here. I'm going with Yancy Medeiros. I also don't know what weight this fight is at. By the way.
That's perfectly fine. Tillis, I've got 15 on the clock for you, sir.
Yeah, I looked at this earlier, and I like Yancey as well. When he came up to 170, he's doing a lot better. He's a lot longer. Olive Garden doesn't really throw a lot, and he's kind of stiff. So I think Yancey's going to piece him up.
Okay. Kev, he's starting to introduce sound logic into his decisions. Is that going to hinder him? Go ahead.
I can fix that. I found out today from a news article that a couple that loves Olive Garden is naming their child Olivia Garden. So take that analysis and shove it up your ass. We're ready for my Olive Garden factoids. Where are you guys?
To be fair, that was the reason why I brought up that name. So,
Perfect.
Topical humor on this show. Can't get enough of it, you guys.
I'm about to fucking drink some pre-workout. Let's get this shit going.
Oh, God. Tillis definitely sounds like the guy who can make pre-workout sound like it's drugs.
He is going to snort it, but isn't that?
Oh yeah, 100%. Hey Noah, why don't you do this? Why don't you lead us off on this lightweight bout between David Taimur and Docker Close, which is one too many Ks for my preference. Go.
Can you repeat the names? I'm sorry.
Sure. David Taimur versus Docker Close. Go.
Okay. David Taimur, he was on The Ultimate Fighter. I think he was in the Conor McGregor season. He's a good kickboxer. I think he came down from 70, if I'm not mistaken. He might have been at 55, but he's pretty tough. I don't see him really finishing a lot of people. And seeing how I don't know anything about the other guy, I think Taimur is probably going to keep it on his feet. Decision. Don't fucking buzz me when I'm talking. And,
you know what? Time committed. You're done. Kevin, you've got 15.
No, I agree with him. I think I should cede 5 seconds. You've gotten too powerful, Raph. What's gone to your head on this show? I'm going to go with Drakkar, and I can't believe his middle name isn't Malfoy. Come on, guys. United States 8-0-1, and Taimur is too pretty. He's simply too pretty to do this.
Okay. Good to know. All right, let's go to our next bout. It is a flyweight bout between Henry Cejudo and Sergio Pettis. Kevin, you start us off on this.
It hasn't been a great month for the Pettises. And as you know, they are the same person. One is just it's like that multiplicity movie situation. I got to go with Henry the Messenger Cejudo. Plus, I've been listening to a lot of Colts podcasts. Just a shout out to them. It always has a messenger. I'm seeing it as a sign.
Okay. Tillis, what do you got for us on this one?
Yeah, Cejudo looks a lot better. He's moving a lot better. Instead of getting embarrassed by DJ, he actually moving, striking, he's in and out. I think he's going to be too much for Sergio. When he wants to take him down, he will. But I think he's going to keep it on the feet and still win the fight.
Here's the question. Is anybody overlooking the fact that Henry Cejudo actually jumped off a building and injured his foot?
I think it only...
Oh, no, I got to jump. I don't sit around and read stupid fucking articles all day. So.
Got
well, job. It was during the wildfires.
Hold on. I want to point out the cush job that one Noah Tillis has. Hey, Noah, what are you up to? Jerking off? Okay, cool. You want to come on our show? Fuck. Does it mean I have to stop jerking off?
No, it does not.
Probably did.
100% it does not, Raph. It's in the rider. Ever since
you didn't ask me what my job was.
Let's do this. It's a lightweight bout between Charles Oliveira and Paul Felder. Noah, you start on this. Go.
Hello?
Yeah, Noah, you've got a match between Charles Oliveira versus Paul Felder. Go.
I think Paul Felder. That one's a tough one. It seems like one's on his way down and one's on his way up. I think Paul Felder's tough. He's pretty sound. Again, he's going to keep moving forward. He's got tighter boxing. If he can get away from the kicks and step inside that range, I think Paul Felder's probably going to take that one.
All right, Kev, what do you got for us?
De Bronze with a triangle choke on the ground. The Irish Dragon. It's something about people with red hair, Raph. I'm not going to get too into it, but I'm going with Oliveira.
Okay. All right. I'm actually putting 20 seconds on the clock for Kevin and 13 seconds on the clock for Noah for this next bout. Kevin, you're going to lead us off. Kev, it's a heavyweight bout between Hey Now, You're an All-Star Overeem versus Francis Ngannou. Go.
You know I'm following my man, Francis the Predator Ngannou. First, so I don't have to hear about Jesus or steroids. And second, no, those are the only two reasons. Love me some Alistair Overeem. Love that he's still getting in the cage. The Predator, it is for me.
All right, Noah, you get 13 seconds for mouthing off the last time. Who do you got for us on this one?
Oh, sorry, Daddy. I'm probably going to go with Francis as well. I like that one. I think Alistair's been knocked out. And not saying that that's it for him, but I think if that big old hammer touches his chin, he's going to go down again. And I think that guy can do it. So Francis Ngannou is probably going to get the knockout.
Okay, now let me ask you this. You've taken some heavy blows in fighting.
I do get
How would you say Kevin is faring? Would you say that Kevin is somebody who's still on their feet? If this were an MMA fight, this banter back and forth between the two of you, is Kevin kind of rocked? Is he dazed? Is he in a bad stance?
He seems like he's got a lot of knowledge. He seems like he's probably losing to me by split decision. But, I mean, he's doing all right.
Oh, shit. Kev, did you hear that? You're going to make it to a split decision.
That feels good. That feels good. Because, you know, unlike his loss to Nick Willard, which was unanimous, it'll feel good to some.
Fucking guy.
Wow. That might have been one of the greatest moments for Kevin in over-under Kevin history. Wow.
That was nice.
That was really smooth.
I was fighting professional MMA when I was 18. Let's go back to Kevin. He's probably packing a nice weed bowl over wherever he lives, like in Utah or something. You know, he's probably just got out of high school. He's down a couple credits, but, his mom believes he's going to make it. He's going to keep doing his homework, maybe some after-school classes. He ends up not graduating. He works selling VHSs for the next 6 months, doesn't go to community college like his mom wants him to. It spirals into effect. So we can always compare what we were doing at 18, but it's the past,
I have an important question to ask
Utah
here,
with Kansas, dead on, by the way. Again, I did work at Blockbuster briefly. He's not wrong about that.
Again, very important question here, Noah. Are you the person writing the Verbal Tap fan fiction that we keep getting sent?
No, I've never even seen that. Now I think I probably will.
That sounded like you spent a lot of time behind a typewriter going like, he said, be kind, rewind, as he touched her, slowly, making eye contact with her. Anyway, all right, well, that was intricate. Let's go to our next bout. Tillis, you lead us off on this one. It is a women's strawweight bout between Tisha Torres and Michelle Karate Hottie Watterson. Go.
Is that me?
Yeah, that's you.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, they can both get it. I mean, if you guys have any insight or direct message them, send them my tag. But I'm probably going to go with the Karate Hottie for that one.
Are you going for the closer hookup on that one, or because you think she's going to win? It's very confusing.
No, I think she's married and has kids, so I'd have to wait for a divorce. But no, I think she's gonna. Tisha Torres' arms, her little T-Rex arms, aren't going to be able to catch her. So she'll keep the movement. I think she's better on the ground. She's a little bit longer and moves better. So I think the Karate Hottie's going to get it, and then I'll give her a run at the champ after that.
Noted. All right, Kev, what do you got for us?
Her nickname is the Tiny Tornado. That's what Tisha Torres is bringing to the table, along with a 9-1 record. That's an impressive little mix she's got going. I like her. I'm taking Tisha Torres mostly because terrified of tornadoes. Aforementioned, raised in Kansas. Can't get over that.
Kev, I'm interested to see this. Let's keep the women's category going. It's a women's strawweight bout between Felice Herrig and Courtney Casey. Who do you have winning in that? 15 seconds on the clock. Go.
Yeah, I get really terrified of people with multiple first names. Courtney Casey makes me super nervous. Don't like CC, and it's cast iron. CCC. It feels. I'm gonna go with Felice Herrig because I just can't do it. I can't go with Courtney Casey.
All right, Tillis, what do you got for us? 15 on the clock.
Courtney Casey, I was actually gonna before she made it to the UFC, I was gonna have one of my fighters fight her, and she. So I've watched a lot of her early stuff. She's really tough. Her record is 7-4, but she's really tough. Lost some close decisions, and I think she beats Felice.
Interesting.
Yeah, choose first names. You never trust anybody with your first names. That's true.
That's fair. Kevin, do you feel like this is insider trading that's happening here? Like, doesn't he know too much here?
That, and I thought it was like, oh, let's talk about something I'm doing, because he just has a real narcissistic vibe that I'm picking up. You know, competition brings it out in people, and we're seeing it. It was all cool and nice at first, but now it's all Noah. It's all Noah.
That's true.
It's a lot of Noah.
Exactly.
Speaking of all Noah, let's stay on Noah for this next bout. It is a welterweight fight between, all right, get ready for these two. Abdul Razak Al-Sain.
Breaking up, Rap.
Okay. So Abdul Razak Al-Sain and Sabada Homasi, which I believe at least one of those has been accosted by TSA. So Abdul Razak Hassan versus Sabada Homasi. Who do you have?
I'm going to go with El Rasik. I think I said it right, or pretty close. I've seen him fight. He's pretty tough. I thought he was heavier, actually. I didn't know he was a 70-pounder. But, yeah, I'm going to pick him.
Okay. Kev, who do you got?
Which one did he pick?
He picked Paula Abdul Razak Al-Sain.
Thank you. Oh, Paula. Oh, my God. That's what his nickname should be. Just quotes Paula Abdul Razak Al-Hassan. He'll fly right through the TSA, if that's what's on there. I got to go with Sabah Hamasi. Once again, USA versus Ghana, a classic showdown. The best two countries in fighting. I'm going to go with Sabah.
Fair enough. All right, Kevin, you're going to lead us off on this one, Kevin. I am interested to hear your thoughts, but before that, we need to address something that's very important. It's about this time that we actually do a bet on this show, or we tell the participant of Over Under, Kevin, there will be a wager. So, Kev, what kind of wagers have we had in the past?
Video plugs, social media changes in like handles, maybe like an embarrassing photo. I've made interviewers put on makeup to do things that felt good. Just
cool.
An example, just a few examples.
So Noah, just hearing this information right now, because we don't do bets with money because, you're an MMA fighter and jiu-jitsu. If I were to ask you if you had an idea for a bet without saying what it is, do you have an idea for what you would like to bet against Kevin at the end of this?
Can it be something that was already done?
I mean, you could be a little bit more imaginative, but I'm sure we can collaborate. You've got 3 picks before we get there, so let's get there right now. Kev, a lightweight bout.
I have an idea.
Okay, we'll return back to that in a little bit. Kev, a lightweight bout between Eddie Alvarez and Justin Gaethje.
I haven't forgiven the underground king, Eddie Alvarez, for the effing he gave me several over-unders ago. Justin, whatever the highlight is my choice, and I'm doing that despite the eyes tattoo underneath his nipple.
Noah, what do you have for us on this one? Alvarez or Gaethje?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Gaethje as well. He wrestled, I believe, at Nebraska. So where Alvarez brings good wrestling to the table, he's not going to knock out Gaethje. You guys saw the guy's a fucking zombie. And he's not really going to out-wrestle him. He might get him down once, but the wrestling, he's a higher caliber wrestler than Alvarez. So I'm going to go with Gaethje.
Okay.
Controversial opinion. As I'm looking at these, Eddie Alvarez might just be BJ Penn with a slightly different haircut. Let's go.
Thank you very much. I'm sure. Hold on. I think. Oh, hey, bro. Thank you so much for bringing me up.
BJ, are you Eddie Alvarez?
No, I'm not BJ. I'm Eddie Alvarez right now. Bro, I'm in disguise. Shh.
Can't wait. I feel it even better
thanks.
about that game.
Bye, bro.
Thanks, BJ. Love it when he stops by.
So strange. I didn't believe BJ.
He's just always on the mic. It's weird, but he is.
It's like he's retired or something and he has nothing better to do.
A lot more lately than he was in his prime. But
Noah, who wins in a women's strawweight match between Amanda Cooper and Angela Magana? Who wins? 15 go.
Amanda Cooper, I think she's going to tattoo her. She'll probably knock her out on her feet. She's a good boxer. I follow her on Instagram daily, and I see her videos.
All right.
Her
It's getting
boxing's
creepy.
looking really good.
It's like,
Yep.
I could already
Sure, it's
tell
just
this
your
is
boxing.
going. Hit the mic.
We're hitting the kill button on the microphone very shortly. Kevin, who do you got for us on this one?
Yeah, I guess just to be contrary, because I don't, and I'll go pure reach advantage. Angela, and I don't know anything about either fighter. I don't follow either of them on Instagram like an asshole. I guess I'll take Magana, but he's using insider info once again, ref. Objection.
Unfair in so many ways. All right, Kev, you're leading us off on this one. I'm putting 30 seconds on the clock in the featherweight championship bout between Max Holloway and Noah Jose Aldo. Go.
I'm so excited to watch Jose Aldo get knocked out again. It's been fun for a few years now. It gets more fun the more dickish he is. I know he's an awesome guy. He's a really dedicated fighter, but he just seems like super pissed Conor McGregor knocked him out. It's like, well, beat Max Holloway. I don't think he's going to. I'm taking blessed. 10p for the weekend.
Interesting. All right. Noah, what do you got for us?
I got Jose Aldo, and a few reasons. He was lighting him up, and he was winning the first couple rounds. I think he tweaked some stuff with his cardio, and he's been working a lot on his boxing. He was over here in California working with, I think, Mikey Garcia. He's working with a few different professional boxers, and he was going to make the transition over. He's not out of shape. He's in good shape, so I think he lights him up. I think he wins the decision.
All right. Gentlemen, we've now come to the point when we need to get to tiebreakers in the event you guys have a tie. So for that, Kevin, I'm going to go ahead and have you start here. We need 2 performances of the night and who you think the fight of the night will go to.
At least that's what you think we need. There's a solid chance Dana will decide differently if the fight gives him, to quote my okay friend Noah Tillis, a semi-chub. He'll just start giving him the fuck away like Oprah. So I'll start with a fight of the night. I do think we're going to see some fun things from Tamur, or a performance of the night, excuse me. No, I don't want to give it to close. So I'm going to start with Cejudo. Then I'm going to go Holloway with fight of the night going to Torres versus Watterson.
All right. Noah, what do you got for us?
Knockout is going to be Francis Ngannou.
Hold up.
Oh,
Hold up. Fighter
what an
talking.
old school. This guy
Concussion.
knows stuff.
Concussion in the brain. Let's walk it back for a second. They give out 2 performances of the night, sir, and 1 fight of the night.
Oh, they don't do the knockout anymore.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah.
It's
It
like
sucks.
you don't
No
know
one
what
likes
MMA
it. No one likes what they're
is.
doing. Everyone misses the submission or knockout of the night. We all miss it, but this is the world we're in.
All right, so we're gonna do 2 performance of the night and a fight of the night. So we're gonna go performance of the night, Henry Cejudo. Fight of the night. Fight of the night is gonna be Pettis and Cejudo. Performance of the night is gonna be Baby Girl Karate Hottie. And we're gonna have another performance of the night. Is probably gonna be Francis Ngannou.
All right. So I know we asked this a couple fights ago, but I want to ask it again. Noah, we'll defer to you to start off. No money wager. What is the bet you have in mind for Kevin? Let's go.
I was thinking like a 15-second Instagram video, just professing the love for the winner. It's going to go on your Instagram, and I think that would be a good thing.
Okay.
Sexually.
Accepted. I will be sexual because I won't be able to help it with your wavy hair still burned into my memory from the wow. Why is the Nuaza Invitational getting so much publicity? I don't know, but we are the #1 PR for that fight. I will only talk about your Gladiator Challenge Summer Feud, which again sounds a little more like a kinky camp, but I like it. A submission via Kimura Raf. So there's a lot to talk about.
Can I make one thing here? Because Kev, you have footage of him, right? But we have no real existing footage of you competing. So what we need to do is have Noah, if you lose here, Noah, You have to make up the result of a match that you've never seen of Kevin's, much in the same way you created a scenario of his upbringing in Spring Hill, Kansas as a child.
Yeah.
You have to make up an entire scenario of the coolest submission you saw Kevin perform that never actually happened.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
I know you can
miss
do
a
that.
bunch of details and have really shooting technique and stuff. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. Raph, one more point that proves his Sure Dog record is just him going to exotic adult-friendly summer camps. You want to know where his second 2 fights were? Respect in the Cage 2, which I'm positive is an introductory course to BDSM, and Respect in the Cage 4, because the guy's obviously dedicated to his craft. He's going to get better. So, Respect in the Cage. That's where we fought.
Well, let's do this. Noah, we enjoyed having you on tonight, but we're going to bring you back on next week to talk the fights with us, correct?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I know we got to get you out of here in just a second, but if people are so interested in following you, where can they follow your antics, sir?
Instagram. Instagram's mostly a lot. That's where I'll put some shit up there. Facebook, I'm just putting stupid memes all the time. But Instagram, Tillis_BJJ. That's where I'm at.
You guys definitely want to follow him there. And if you are looking for tickets for Bellator, because it's going to be an amazing card. We already know some of the people on there. We know Chase Gibson's on there. We know Chad George is going to be on there. We know Roy McDonald. We know a ton of people who are going to be on this card, people. So you're going to want to be there. But we encourage you guys, if you're looking for tickets, hit up Noah, because I believe you'll have some tickets available soon, Sue, right?
Yeah, I have tickets at my gym. So if you're in the Whittier area, I have tickets at my gym, Tillis Jiu-Jitsu. Come in, drop in, try a class out. But I have tickets there, and then you can get them online, and you get a discount if you put offer code Tillis.
Ooh, very nice. Well, guys, I can't impress upon this enough. If you are in the Whittier area, please go take a class with Noah. Some of the best technique you'll find this side of SoCal.
Raph boasts about it. Behind your
do.
back, obviously.
I
He
do.
does talk about training with you and how good it is.
Oh, that's
yeah.
That's awesome. I wish he would stop in more. He actually is just a convenience thing. He gets his hair around the block, so he's like, I guess I'll come train with this retard. So
That is exactly correct.
That's exactly the way I put it to Kevin. That's 100%. It's not just convenience. No, I don't see you coming out to me. I don't see you coming to train with me at all. So,
Ooh,
just saying.
Well, I don't leave Whittier at all. I get drunk in Whittier. My family's in Whittier. My business is in Whittier. I'm a hermit. I don't leave.
Listen, it's good to make friends and leave your comfortable surroundings. I
Well,
know it's scary,
disagree.
big guy.
I'm going to disagree too.
But let's say this. Let's say after it's all said and done, at the forum, after you win, we're going to have someplace. I'm going to drag you out of Whittier, and I will get you out of your shell, and we'll have a drink somewhere outside of Whittier, sir.
All right. You try to get some drinks? I don't know what you're planning, but yeah, we get a couple drinks.
Listen, I'm trying to make you a social fucking person. That's what people do. Hey, friend, you want to grab a drink? Yeah, sure, I do. Hey, why don't you come to me in Whittier? Cool, that's 5 freeways away. That's cool. I don't leave because I'm lame. No, friendship. Fucking go out of your shell.
Let's do it.
Anyway,
The
listen.
funny part is there's a bar that sponsors me in Whittier, so I'm just going to go back there.
Oh, Jesus. Noah, you're like one of the people.
We'll have a couple of duels.
We'll have a couple of duels for sure. 100%. I love that Noah has this small town sensibility within one of the not smallest Mexican towns there is in all of Southern California. So anyway, I want to say this. Noah, we love having you on. We can't wait to have you on on next week again. And if you guys get the chance, stop by his gym, buy some tickets,
Cool.
follow him on Instagram.
Thanks, guys.
Noah,
I appreciate it. I got to go train now.
absolutely. We'll talk to you later, buddy.
Later, man.
All right, yeah.
Raph, it's been a crazy episode without you here. I got so entranced by our live Verbal Tap episode anniversary, Verbal Tap year 5 last week that people need to check out. I then got further enamored an out of the live idea when I saw the KO Sports Gear shoot you did with Joey and Bree.
Yes.
If you haven't seen it, and you're not following us at Verbal Typecast on all our stuff, you can find us. But we've been talking about these KO Sports Gear gis, kosportsgear.com. Did I mention it's the holidays? We've been talking about their gis. We've been talking about their singlets. The singlet picture gets taken to a next level. So make sure you see Raph, Joey, and Bree in their new singlets. Wow. It's good stuff. Raph, nicely done on that front, by the way.
Thank you, sir. We had some fun doing that. Bree also, she now has America and a pink camo singlet. Joey has the muscles. This was exactly his phrasing. Raph, I want the one with muscles so that I have muscles with my muscles. Great, Joey. We got him for you. You genius. So there's that one. And then I got two, one of which you'll see later. One of which I don't think you guys have seen yet. But I got one that was the Matt Monkey one. And, of course, the America singlet, which you may see a very soon video with me and an 80cc standout very soon. I don't know if I want to say more than that at the moment.
I like
so let's keep that in mind. Just two things that we didn't get to at the very beginning that I think we need to address here, Kev.
Yeah.
Chuck Liddell threatening to come back.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Is that it's real?
I mean, he's just entertaining it. I think he's just at the point of being like, these guys don't know how to fight. I'll fight them. Which, cool.
He should.
So there's that one side.
All done.
But then in the world of other regions, which thanks, Chuck, we're all stocked up on crazy here. Ben Askren basically retired over the weekend. Okay?
Yeah, and feeling good about himself.
Yeah, he's feeling great. He retired over the weekend, but he called out GSP, which I don't know. Let me see if I can ask my dad this about when he retired. Did my dad, when he retired, did he get out and say, I want to do some more LA housing work? New York housing. I'll see you soon. Woo! No. My dad was like, nah, son, I'm going to get my check and deuce. Peace. So Ben Askren retires and immediately calls it GSP, which I guess begs the question of the word definition for retirement for one Ben Askren. But before then, he said some crazy shit, and I want to read you what he said. He said, Kev, and I quote, this was in response to a Chael Sonnen story about him being a black belt. AKA, he said, Chael, that you just declared yourself a black belt and challenged people to prove you don't have the skills to be one. Askren responded simply, yes. If asked if anybody tried to call him out on it, he said, no. So not a lot of shit talking there. But then he basically said that Damian Maia is so basic. I had to imitate Maia in sparring, and it was awful because there was no creativity or ability to keep Tyrone guessing to what was coming, a.k.a. Tyrone Woodley. So, cool. I would love to see that grappling match. I'll tell you this right now. But Damian Maia, Kev, I guess this is the hard part is Ben Askren always had that crazy wrestling style. But here's the thing. At least with Damian Maia fights, I thought a couple of them were exciting. Can't say the same for Ben Askren.
I also don't disagree with you. Kind of like just a pressure-based wrestler. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but at times, not always as fun. No. And can he not find someone to make him a black belt?
I don't know, dude.
That's a little weird to me.
It's a weird thing of just, I think you get to that hubris level of, hey, man, why don't you just do some grappling or jiu-jitsu and get ranked? No, I challenge. I am already a black belt. Kind of being a dick about this, dude. You probably would be pretty high up there.
How do we say this nicely? Could you maybe not with us?
And being I love the fact, and I don't beseech him for all of this, but I love when he says, Dana White's a fucking piece of shit. Well, it's Brent Askren, are you a ray of sunshine? I don't know, man. With an attitude like this, it's pretty easy to see why maybe you didn't get signed. So, I hope you enjoy that Japan money that you were making, dude. But I'm just telling you this right now. He has always been so boring on the microphone. So boring in making any of his fights compelling. And yet now he wants to be like, I deserve GSP. No, sit down, dude. Enjoy your retirement. And you know what the best part about this is, dude? You can now go on forever and shit talk. Because this is the beautiful part about retiring, Kev. You don't actually have to have done something after you've retired. You can live in hypotheticals and be like, I would have beaten GSP, and we can never prove you wrong.
No.
Because you've got an undefeated record. So why? Just live in that world and get commentary gigs on like ESPN or whatever MMA channels that you're going to get, because you'll be there forever, because it's going to say in there, quotation marks, black belt, but really amazing, boring wrestler. Like, that's what it's going to say. So that's all I'm saying. Don't be a dick. But he said he has high compliments for Marcelo. So there's that.
Well, that's great. So,
Yeah.
well, it is a lot. People are just really slipping. I think it's the holiday season. I can't
I
tell.
think so.
It might be that.
It's a little dicey. It could be the weight cut too, Kev.
It could be. So, I mean, it does things to everybody. And definitely not the hits over a long period of time to their head. Rep, that's going to do it for us tonight here at Some Verbal Tap, which means it's time for some shout-outs. Thanksgiving was amazing. To the parentals, my dad and brother-in-law, we did like a combo turkey thing. My parents did a slow smoke on the green egg, which is like a pressure grill. Then we deep fried another one. So it's just a blast of a time. Everybody was sick. Nobody cares. We're just kind of like, let's just make it through it. Played some songs. We did the whole family band business. We played some fun Christmas carols. So props to them and to the Mutts for making the 9-hour drive twice just so they could play. They had a blast. So to the whole fam out, but MVP of the trip, Raph. Victoria had to come back Saturday very early. So she had to get to the airport at like 7. She had to leave at like 5:45. My cousin Tracy took her so I could sleep 2 more hours and then drive to Denver. MVP of the trip goes to cousin Tracy. So massive props to her. And Raph, that's going to do it for me because I'm injured. I couldn't stop and see my friends at KCBJJ. Otherwise, I would have. I also might be injured after. You never know with those savages and how much smack I talk. But I missed them and seeing them and helping shed some of the turkey weight prior. That was
I
tough.
will tell you this, though, Kev. I feel like when you say MVP, and that's not a disgrace or meant to be mean to your cousin, how do you think Millhouse feels?
You know, he was having quite a time. Young Millhouse. Mills likes the kids and got to go to my sister's house and just sprint everywhere and then chase chickens. So I think mostly, I mean, I had to put him to bed because he kind of got a little enamored with the rabbit.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Like standing on 2 feet face to face with Timmy the rabbit. My parents have a rabbit on the deck. And so what an outgoing round table. It's so fun out in the Midwest. Things are great. Mills is doing fine.
I just wanted to say, I mean, if Vicky had to fly back, Mills was essentially your navigator. So
Yeah, he was in charge of morale on the drive.
He's just looking over. I like the idea of a dog telling you left turn consistently. Anyway, let's start with mine. I want to say thank you to my family. They came all the way out. Kelly, our MVP, made all of the food with her mom, Sue. It was a wonderful time to be had here when all of us get together and eat all of the food. I've gained so much weight from doing it. I'll tell you that right now. I went to go to a wrestling practice on Sunday, and after I was done, I thanked everybody for beating me up, but then I just continued lying on the ground for like another 5 to 10 minutes. And I was pretending to stretch, but I was not stretching. I was dead, like dead. So there was that. Anyway, I want to make sure that we impress upon this. Great weekend. Thank you to Gary Tonin for tuning in to our stream, as all of you guys. But we had a lot of people from EBIs in there. We had Tom DeBlass show up. And I don't know if I offended Tom DeBlass because I called him Jiu-Jitsu Oprah. And then suddenly he left and goes, hey, everybody, I got to go. Bye, everybody. God bless. I was like, oh, no, did he not like the Jiu-Jitsu Oprah bit? Because that shit's amazing.
You get a choke. You get a choke.
Everybody
It's just really
gets
liked.
it.
It's not ours. It's a wonderful comparison. We love Oprah.
Hey, you know what? Show me something different. If it doesn't read like Jiu-Jitsu Oprah, I will eat my hat, which I won't. That's not a real thing people do, by the way. They just say they would. Anyway, let's see. This week, I'm excited for this. I just appeared on the Jiu-Jitsu podcast, so they were very nice to extend an invitation. That's our good friend Joey Fody and Robert. Thank you guys for having me on. We had a great discussion of Metamoris and other stuff. We even previewed EBI coming up this weekend. So I was stoked to talk with those guys. Very, very appreciative that they wanted to celebrate and commemorate. And guess what, guys? I'm going to see them because big announcement. I'm making my way out to Texas. So
Woo!
I'm going to be here. I'm going to see our good friend Joey House compete at Fight to Win amongst a sea of other friends that we have fighting on this card. Our good friend John Evans will be on the 1s and 2s doing commentary. And as soon as that's done, I get on a jet plane and I go straight on over to Texas. I'm going to try and make the On It Invitational. That is the all-female On It Invitational with some amazing super fights happening out that way. So there's that. And then the next day, I'm there for EBI. So if you guys are in Austin, come say hello. I hope to meet a lot of friends out that way. We're going to be myself and my sister, a.k.a. Kid A Photography. And if you're not following her on Instagram, do so right this second.
Amazing.
I'll wait. Kid A Photo on Instagram and Kid A Photography on the Facebooks. So hopefully we'll get to see you guys on out there. And can I say this real quick? Next week, not this week, but next week, on December 10th, there is a tournament at Valley Martial Arts Center. You can sign up for it at valleymac.com. We would love for you guys to come compete at our tournament. It's the low price of $40. Just like Tillis, we like to keep things honest and true. And we want you guys, it's a white and blue belt tournament, and that's at Valley Martial Arts Center. So again, you can sign up for it at valleymac.com. And I think, Kev, that will do it.
That'll do it for us tonight here at Verbal Tap. I'm Kevin. Thank you for listening.
Good night and good fight.
At this time,